What's up? It's Matt. We are back with another restaurant expert roundup. This time we're across the pond and we've got an author to talk to and we got some cool stuff to dig into about building a successful organization. Be back in a second. My man from Liverpool, how are you?
Hello, Matt. Are you all right?
So for the audience out here on internet land, tell everybody who you are.
So thanks for having me here. My name is Dino, Kottis. I currently live in Liverpool, UK. So I'm across the pond, as you said. And I'm so happy to be meeting you finally, at least virtually. So we need to arrange a face-to-face soon, Matt. That will be great. I want to visit the US. I haven't done it yet. So yes, Based in Liverpool. I'm Greek by origin. I've been in the UK for the last 10 years.
Okay.
And part of hospitality, since I was 16 years old. And it's great to discuss with you today about anything regarding my book or any hospitality matters.
I love it. So what part of Greece are you originally from?
So I come from, my place is not so touristic. It's like in the mainland. It's called Peloponnese.
I've got a friend that lives there. I believe Christos lives there. His name's Christos.
Christos, okay.
And
Christos.
then, let's see. I believe he's from there. No, he's from Thessaloniki. Never mind. Christos is from Thessaloniki. And then another friend, Spiros, who I think is in the States right now. He is from Athens, down near the very end, very tip.
Yeah. So the biggest city. Thessaloniki is great. And I've been there. I studied there for 7 years. That's where I met my wife. And it's beautiful to go. There's so many restaurants, so good food and entertainment there. Yeah. It's nice. It's a nice spot to go, Matt. I suggest that. I recommend it.
So I've got the book here, and I've got two little topics earmarked, as you can see. Talk about the motivation behind writing the book and a little bit about your background that got you to this point.
Of course. So I'll give you a background, a brief background. Hospitality has been part of my, I would say, existence since I was born. Imagine the place, the house I was born and brought up used to be a tavern in the last century, early 90s. Yeah, since my grandfather used to run that as a tavern. And actually, that house became my first restaurant when I was 27 years old. So I just asked everyone to move out of the house. And I say, you know what? It's the time to make it a restaurant again. And I think that the most difficult part of that project was to move my father out of there. He wouldn't move. He was like stubborn. I've been part in hospitality since I was 16 years old. Started working in bars, the usual stuff, waiting on. Then I used to DJ a lot. And when I had my hair and I was a beautiful little boy doing beach bars and clubs and all that. But after I graduated, I have a degree in completely irrelevant. It's a natural environmental sciences and forestry.
Okay.
Nothing close to the rest.
Nothing to do with DJing or food.
Not really. No. But you know what? Studying in Thessaloniki, because you mentioned that town, it's in the number of restaurants and spots to eat there. I think the density is incredible. You turn every corner, you can have food. You can become double sized there. Believe me, Matt, and they're good. The quality is good. Anyway, I started working there, doing several jobs as a student, but coming back and graduating, as I said, we made a decision to open a restaurant with my family down in Greece, my hometown. Really enjoyed it. Very good experience. But 2012, we decided that it was the opportunity to either live abroad or never go, out of the borders. And we decided to leave. And we came to the UK, started here. And hospitality was the main industry I was involved with. So starting from back of house, because of my experience in the restaurant, and my language was not the best at that point. I wasn't very confident in serving customers at that point, which was a good school. If you don't go in the back, if you don't work the kitchen, if you don't know the back of house operations, you can appreciate the full package, I would say. And then moving on, I did several jobs in hospitality, from head chef, kitchen manager, catering manager, then went front of house, general manager, operations manager, anything you can imagine. And I'm here. And then became a trainer. I became a trainer afterwards because I have two little girls, and I want, hospitality. There is no hours, there is no weekends, there is no bank holidays. It's everything full on. I thought that, I need to see the girls growing up.
So you took all of that knowledge, front of house, back of house, couple different pieces of a couple different continents, I guess you could say, and put it into this book, put it into your know-how. You were sharing something with me before on your screen. You want to share that screen and go through that?
Of course. Thank you for mentioning that. Let's use technology now. Okay. All right. So let me present. Give me a second. Stop screen. So present now.
Because I like the way it spelled it out, because I think it was an easy way to visualize what you can get from the book.
Yes. You know what? This is in the back of my mind. That was the main reason. And when I reflect, that was actually the model I used. So let me share that so we don't waste any time.
Okay.
Is it sharing now?
I can see it. And I put that up here.
Perfect. So this is a model, the Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's something that we use usually for human beings, for people. It usually discusses about the motivators and the needs. So we start with the basic needs, that moves as you go up the pyramid to security needs, social needs, the esteem, and the self-actualization. And I adapted that to the restaurant business because there are so many similarities and common grounds. And what I realized myself is that, like, it's human nature. We all want to become super rich very fast without sometimes the real effort, the know-how, the knowledge, and all that. So instead of, I've seen this happen a lot with the restaurants, owners and people who get involved, or I would say investors, but the ones that support the operations, they don't know the basics. They go straight away to, how many times I spoke to people that we work together to open restaurants and business. They were discussing about building brands. All right, I understand that, but are you okay with your knowledge around operations? Do you know how to deal with customer service or your staff? That's where I realized, because it happened a lot, Matt. You know how many times I got involved with opening restaurants of different kinds, from Italian to Middle Eastern, anything like seafood restaurants. And that was the main issue. So the owner they weren't knowledgeable, they weren't willing to learn 100%. And what happened? They were failing.
They fail. Yeah.
They would.
Oh, I had a restaurant that closed this summer that we dealt with. When I first met them, they were talking about franchising. And for me, whenever it's almost like a warning sign that about every 2 or 3 months, I'll talk to a restaurant like, oh yeah, they've got one store. They're looking at franchise. We're going to open a bunch of these up. We got a great concept. And they almost always are out of business in 6 months. It's like you're thinking about that growth, that self-actualization at the very top. And then you haven't done the basics. And it's like I look at our brand, America's Best Restaurants. Like, we're on a pretty big trajectory to do some cool stuff. But one of the biggest things for me was getting the basics, the groundwork, the team. And we're probably overstaffed right now by 15 to 20 people based on our current business model. But I have to get ready. And now I also believe it. I believe where we're going, and I know we can get there, but I just didn't get this idea a week ago.
Exactly. Matt, when I spoke to owners in the past, I made something like a comparison, and this comes from the US. Okay, I'll use your origin now. It's like building a skyscraper, with a very weak base. How this will stand? That's the problem we have. You have a great base to build a big skyscraper. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? So I really understand that.
My dad calls it building a house with a sand foundation.
That's it.
Is that, yeah, it might hold up for some point, but it's just going to keep settling and cracks are going to start forming. And it's almost like in America, I don't know if it's like this over in your side of the world, but in America, nobody wants to put the work in the gym or eating right to lose weight and be in shape and be healthy. They want to take a pill and wake up tomorrow. And it's like, well, there's a show. I was actually telling my team about this morning. There's a show on TV over here. I haven't seen it in a while, but it was called Biggest Loser, where they would take 10 people who are, morbidly obese, and they're going to help them lose 300 pounds in like 2 or 3 months. And the show stats, the number of people that gain all of the weight back within a year are almost 99% of them, because they didn't have the foundation to support that, keeping that up. And it's the same with the business, that businesses, they want to grow, but you haven't put in the grunt work yet for 10 years.
Consistency is the word for me, and you need to have a vision, as you said. And I watch you a lot. We had this chat, and I admire what you do. And you had a vision, and if you see what you have achieved, it's not an event; it's a process. People, what they do, the owners, what they focus on the event only. They say, "All right, I'm going to do that." The process is not thought enough, and it's not taken really seriously. It takes time, it takes effort. You need to be patient and build, slowly. At some point, you know what? It will explode. As you say, you know that. It's like slowly get to the point that it will do the bang, I would say. So, yeah.
So a couple of things I've bookmarked here. Page 63.
What did you like more? Yeah, let's see now.
So page 63, knowing your break-even point. That one thing it's been hammered home to me, and I've actually got a chart right here that I keep on my desk, that I've got a lot of my, what I call leading indicators for our business, the things that are going to get us to next year's goal, I look at on a consistent basis. We have dashboards we've created. But one thing I was lackadaisical on my first couple of years was knowing my numbers. And I feel like that's such a key element for restaurants, of knowing your cost factors, your operational costs, but also knowing, like, every day of the week, what you have to do that day to where you're actually you're in the black.
It's so important, that, and I think it's if you don't have your P&L sheet as your friend, you just assume. And most of the people are using like a very manual approach. Okay, what came in? What did I have in my pocket? What did I spend? There's no records, especially the small businesses. And I found myself doing that initially. I'm not trying to say I was perfect when I started. When we started the restaurant, I didn't keep records 100%. I didn't have my Excel sheet.
Was your profit and loss your bank account?
Yes. My pocket, it was full. It was 2008 in Greece, only cash only. There was no cards. So I knew what was going in my pocket. I was paying my suppliers, it was doing maths with a piece of paper and a pen initially. But this model doesn't work if you don't really know. That, and it won't be consistent. At some point, you'll find yourself in trouble, and you need to, for many reasons, you need to identify the figures that will keep you alive, and also set targets based on them. It's data analysis. I think the data analysis and evaluation is key for growth. If you don't do that, you just assume. And if you assume and just gamble, I believe you better go to a casino. Go to Vegas.
Better odds. I'm in Vegas next week. There's better odds there than the restaurant business.
Can I travel with you? I can carry your luggage, I'm very good at that.
You can be a bodyguard.
Oh, I'm not that strong. I don't know.
So the next thing that caught my attention, a lot of things caught my attention, by the way, and get on Amazon, buy this book, Hospitality Know-How. And when you buy it, read it, leave the man an awesome review so other people know how badass this book is. But Dino, one thing that caught my attention on this page was getting customer feedback, but then a couple things to me. Number one, understanding how to use it or not use it, because some feedback is just BS, but also being able to take it without getting like, punched in the stomach. I think so many times somebody critiques them, and it might be valid critique. It might be stuff they need to hear, but they're so thick-headed or they're so emotional about it that they can't digest it and really work through it.
For me, the main challenge we all have is that we need to get over the point that we take the feedback as personal. It's not personal. Yep. They don't judge Matt. They judge your product, maybe your customer service. They don't judge your family. They don't judge you as a person. If we get over this ego, because it's kind of an ego, okay? If you get over that, I think it's magical. The feedback, when I opened the restaurant, I remember I have practical examples. Nobody told me at that point that the portion of chips was very small. I thought it was all right.
Yeah.
And one guy came and said, you know what? Be careful with that. It's very small. He was a friend of mine. And he had the nerve and the balls, sorry about the language, but he did. Because you know how many people came and nobody said anything.
Yep.
And that was the guy who helped me and opened my eyes. He told me something about the dessert I was offering. I had to change it straight away. What I'm trying to get at is that feedback is magical. And what is more magical than that? You might have seen it in the book. Complaints.
Yep.
Love them. Take them. Embrace them.
Yep.
That's how you learn.
I'll give you a story from the States here, the car business. I was reading an automotive magazine. This is like 10 years ago. And it was comparing Chevrolet versus Toyota. And I don't know about over where you're at, but here out of Liverpool, what is the big car brand in Liverpool? BMW?
Oh, yeah. You know what? Ford.
Okay. So in the States here,
so in
the States, they were comparing Toyota and Chevy. And in the States, Toyotas are a lot more reliable. They're not back at the store that often, getting fixed, getting warranty repairs than Chevy. But the article was interesting. It was talking about the customer loyalty to the dealership, not the brand, for Chevy was like 8 times higher than Toyota. And they said the reason was Chevrolet's customer service at the dealer level was so good that yes, the Chevy broke down like 10 times more over the course of 4 years than the Toyota. But what happened was in that couple year period of owning that Chevy, Tom Gill Chevrolet is a couple blocks from my office here. People that go to Tom Gill get great service. And so when it comes time to buy a new Chevy, they more often buy from the same dealer because they call it the Superman effect. That dealership service department has supported them and taken care of them that, hey, I'm buying my next Chevy from you. Whereas the Toyota buyer, their loyalty to the Toyota dealership was very low. It was price shopping. And when they went to buy their next Toyota, they didn't give a shit what dealership they bought it from because they never had service issues. They didn't have a loyalty to the dealership. They had a loyalty to the brand. So if you look at that also from your standpoint, that if restaurants can take feedback from consumers, and if there's valid things there that they're bringing to the table, like you talked about with the dessert, with the portion size, and those consumers see those things being acted on. I mean, imagine I was at a restaurant the other day. The bathrooms needed painted. The hand dryer needed replaced. I mean, there was multiple things that if people told them that, and then I came back again and saw it was done, I'm like, oh, they're higher up on my ladder.
Of course, you feel appreciated, you feel heard, you feel respected, and I think this makes the difference. And you know what, loyalty. I think when I was managing, I was training managers in hospitality. One thing I was saying to them is that, guys, aim for loyalty. Make your staff, give them a KPI, a target to make loyal customers. A loyal customer will spend more. A loyal customer will advertise you. A loyal customer will protect you.
Yeah.
All right. And it's much cheaper to have a loyal customer than get a new customer. So all those stuff, it's a chain. You know what? It's a chain reaction. Everything is connected, from sales to marketing to customer service to operations. You can't say, I'm very good at customer service, but my operations are crap. They won't. Everything has to be at least at a standard level. So all this stuff are connected, I think. Yeah.
I love it. Well,
Definitely.
I appreciate your time today. We'll have to have you back at another time and do some deeper stuff on this, but they can find the book on Amazon, buy it from the man, check it out, read it, put some of these things. There's a lot of practical advice in here that you can put in place tomorrow with your restaurant. But more importantly, leave a review and let him know what it's done to impact your business. Dino, I appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, Matt. Honestly, I'm looking forward for the next one.
Perfect.